This video on introducing wireless optimization is presented by Ruijie Tech Team. It will introduce the key methods to optimize the wireless network. We hope this video can provide useful guidance to address poor wireless experience and enhance the wireless network's usage via various optimization methods. Generally, wireless optimization is a necessary step after the wireless project deployment, and this slide will guide you how to optimize the wireless network. Before we begin to optimize wireless network, we need to know what the external Wi-Fi experience is and what the customer's requirement is. As shown in this slide, in customers' opinion, they might think external Wi-Fi should have full signal, fast authentication, seamless, low lagging, and so on. It's our duty to provide excellent Wi-Fi experience for customers to fulfill their requirements. Here, I need to introduce one product which is from our region, WiZ. After we finish the one wireless network deployment, I suggest we can use WiZ to optimize the network first, because it can solve most problems. After WiZ optimization, if the experience is still not up to the customer's expectation, we can optimize the network manually. And in the next slide, I will introduce several methods to optimize the network. First, channel optimization. As we know, in 2.4G, we can use 13 channels, 1 to 13. When there is non-high density scenarios, we recommend to use 1, 6, 11, these 3 channels. For high density scenarios, we recommend to use 1, 5, 9, 13, these 4 channels. For 5G, we recommend to use 36, 40, 44, 48, 52, 56, 60, 149, 153, 157, 161, 165. These 3 non-overlapping channels. In high-density scenario, AP's deployment planning and layout should be honeycombed to minimize cross-channel interference and cater high-density Wi-Fi usage. There are also several points need to be mentioned. Maybe some old terminals do not support channel 13 in 2.4G. To solve this problem, we usually upgrade the network card driver, and then it can work. Now, there are 13 non-overlapping channels in 5G, and it means channel resources are abundant. We have more choice. We also recommend to use 20 Hz bandwidth. 40 Hz is not recommended in the real environment. It may cause mutual interference between APs. Maybe some old terminals do not support 36 to 64 channels in 5G. So we recommend to use both 36 to 64 and 149 to 165 channels in 5G to ensure all the terminals can access to 5G. The optimization of coverage power optimization. The coverage area control power configuration in the AP config mode refers to the transmission power of the frame, such as the beacon and probe, which mainly control the AP coverage area is used to optimize the access and roaming effects of the terminal. When the beacon power of AP is too high and overspread, it is easy to cause roaming stickiness. As shown in this picture, for terminal, it receives two signals. One is from AP1, the other one is from AP2. However, the signal strength from AP1 is minus 62 dBm, and this value is also strong enough, so terminal will not roam to AP2, and this will cause roaming stickiness. And that is why we need to adjust the coverage area control value. And in this slide, we will introduce some specific steps to operate optimization. We need to recognize the coverage for one specific AP. Then we can use Wi-Fi model to test the signal strength it receives. To make sure in the edge of the coverage, the signal strength is around minus 65 dBm, and terminal can access to appropriate AP, roam smoothly between two APs. We suggest the signal strength at the middle point of two APs should be around minus 65 dBm, so that the AP will be able to connect to the most suitable AP. Based on the last slide, in order to make more dual-band terminals can access to 5G, we need to configure the value of 2.4G, 8 dB, less than 5G, so that terminal can access to 5G in priority. That's because the 5G wave has high frequency. Its attenuation will be greater than 2.4G. In this slide, there are several matters needed to be mentioned. In a simple architectural layout, we can find two AP to calculate the appropriate coverage area control value, and then use WISPy to distribute configurations to APs in batches. In the complex architectural layout, we recommend to use a specific value like 15 dBm in 5G, 7 dBm in 2.4G, and then use WIS to distribute configurations to APs in batches, and then adjust the AP one by one manually. For a wireless network scenario required a frequent roaming scenario, if packet drop or lost count more than 5 when STA roam from AP to another, it is necessary to reduce the coverage area control setting to overcome the sticky client issue. In the high-density scenario, we recommend the 5G radio should not noise than 10 dBm, where 2.4G radio noise the value should be 1 dBm. If we still decrease the value of coverage area control, the signal strength of 5G maybe will be smaller than 2.4G. At this time, terminal will access to 2.4G in priority. It will cause better user experience. When we are configuring coverage area control value, we suggest the value working in 5.1G, channel 36 to 64 is 3 to 4 dBm smaller than the value working in 5.8G, channel 149 to 161, to ensure the signal strength of 5.1G and 5.8G is almost the same for terminal equilibrium access. When the scenario is meeting room and high density, we usually install the AP under the seat. Considering radio absorption by human body when event or meeting is on, we usually reserve extra 3 dBm for coverage area control. In this slide, we will introduce the power local optimization. Power local is used for controlling the speed of data transmission. usually at the edge of the AP coverage. If low speed limit, use the Wi-Fi module to test the throughput rate. We'll lower the power local, guaranteeing the throughput rate not decline. Ensure high transmission rate at the same time. Minimize the disturbance to the surrounding AP. There are still several matters need to be mentioned. In a simple scenario, we can use one AP to calculate appropriate power local value. Then use width to distribute the configuration in batch. For complex structure, which are suggested to be fine-tuned for each AP. For meeting room, we usually install AP under the seat, so we need to reserve 15% of the extra power local redundancy. Because when people come in, body will affect single strength. Single strength will be weak and then will affect the user experience. In this slide, we will introduce another method, interference avoidance. Wireless interference sources are usually divided into two types, WLAN interference source and non-WLAN interference source. WLAN interference sources come mainly from 802.11 standard WLAN devices, such as home wireless router, TP-Link, other public Wi-Fi devices. Often suggest to communicate with the owner to coordinate, unified for WLAN deployment or design planning. Avoid mutual interference. For example, unified deployment of a wireless network for sharing. Users use 149-165 channels upstairs and use 36-64 channels downstairs. Non-WLAN interference sources refer to non-WLAN devices working in 2.4 GHz or 5 GHz bands, such as microwave ovens, Bluetooth, etc. These equipments do not follow the CSMA or CA detection mechanism, will not take the initiative to retreat, as long as it's in working status, will impose air interface, interfere Wi-Fi signal, affecting wireless experience. The following is a micro-therapeutic apparatus working in 2.4G, which produce very strong interference. The wireless signal beacon frame is seriously destroyed, and the terminal cannot receive signal normally. If such interference sources are found on site, they are strongly recommended to be removed by negotiation. If they cannot be removed, we should avoid their working frequency. Another optimization method, user isolation. When we are deploying public Wi-Fi, there is no need for users to access each other. At this time, we recommend to enable user isolation function, which is based on ACOAP, and the command is shown in the slide. Another optimization method, wired broadcast domain isolation. Before we optimize wireless network, we usually need to optimize wired network first, because if the wired network has a problem, it is meaningless to optimize wireless network. The common optimization for wired network are shown in the slide. You can refer to it. Notice, when enable the port protection function on the PoE switch, if they are layer 3 roaming in a real environment, we do not suggest to enable this function. Otherwise, the roaming tunnel cannot be built. User cannot realize roaming function. Another optimization method, per user rate limit. We can assume if we do not enable this function, the terminal whose network card performance is strong will preempt channel all the time, will cause better experience of terminal whose network card performance is weak, and it can also reduce hidden nodes influence. And the commands for limiting users' speed are shown in the slide. Notice, The burst value we usually configure is to be 1.2 to 1.5 times its average value. Another optimization method, egress bandwidth or content caching. About this method, we should check the egress bandwidth first, because sometimes the problem is egress bandwidth. No matter how do we optimize the network, the experience will be still bad. So we need to check it first. If the problem is the egress bandwidth, we can ask a customer to increase the egress bandwidth or increase power cache to solve this problem. Case study. The airport internet gateway will never fully utilized before any wireless optimization. Upon I've optimized for Wi-Fi networks, internet bandwidth was constantly utilized over 95%. Wi-Fi STA enjoys smooth internet surfing experience with the complement of power cache implemented. Another optimization method, low wireless rate adjustment. As we know, in the real environment, some terminals are in high rate set, some terminals are in low rate set. So when the interference is small and the signal strength is strong, we recommend to disable wireless no rate set. To avoid no rate set, pull down the air interface performance. And the commands about disabling no rate set are shown in the slide. Notice, as we said just now, the premise is that the interference is less and the signal strength is strong. So in the area with poor Wi-Fi coverage and suffer from channel interference, we do not recommend to disable this. If we still use high rate set to transmit, it will add the probability of air interface to retransmit. It will cause user experience to be bad. Another optimization method, disable RRM setting. When the DCA, Dynamic Channel Assignment, and the TPC, Transmit Power Control of RRM in the wireless device are running, it will occupy much resource of CPU and memory. And if assigned the channel frequently, it will cause wireless network to be unstable. So usually we suggest to disable these two functions, and the commands are shown in the slide. Notice, we suggest to use these to optimize the network automatically. Another optimization method, STA wireless NIC optimization. By optimizing STA network card, we can efficiently solve the experience problems which are caused by the difference of terminal network card. Disable the power saving function so that the terminal will not lose connection when it is in the sleep mode. Increase the room sensitivity of terminal network card. Ensure terminal can roam smoothly. For iOS terminal, we suggest to upgrade them to the latest version. Otherwise, there will be many unexpected problems. As shown in the picture, first one is showing you how to increase the sensitivity of network card. In this picture, 5 is the biggest one. Next two pictures are showing you how to enable the HTTP proxy function in the iPhone. So if the iPhone is in sleep time, it will keep the connection of Wi-Fi. It will not lose connection. Another optimization method, beacon period interval adjustment. As we know, our terminals will send a beacon frame to check whether there is a valuable signal in the environment. We can assume if there are many signals in the environment, it is no doubt there will be many beacon packets in the environment, and it will occupy a lot of air interface resource, will cause better user experience. So we can relieve this situation by adjusting the beacon interval to 150 to 300 milliseconds. The command is shown in the slide. One thing we need to pay attention to is that if we adjust this value to a very large value, it will cause instability of signal, and it will affect user experience. So usually we need to only keep the default value and broadcast less than 4 SSID. Another optimization method, CPP, TCP, at zero optimization. In case unheavy concurrent web redirection happen in web authentication, this may trigger AC's CPU protect type TCP at zero protection and cause STA experience slow web authentication. Adjust of CPU protect type TCP at zero default value possible help to overcome this situation. We could issue CLI, show CPU protect type TCP at zero every 20 seconds to check the packet drop count to justify the default value adjustment. And the command is shown in the slide. And there are several matters we need to pay attention to. 5302, 5308, no need to adjust. Maximum of 5708 is 4000. Maximum of 18000 and 6816 is 6000. By the way, the higher the value, the higher the CPU utilization, and subsequently impact AC performance. Another optimization method, centralized transmit ARP guard. We all know during the centralized transmit, all the packets are transmitting via AC, so it's easy to reach an FPP limitation of AC. Upon the number reaches AC limitation, AC will drop the packets. It will cause STA non-gateway ARP items very slowly, even cannot non-ARP items. So at this time, we suggest to add gateway items into ARP guard trust table, and the commands are shown in the slide. Another optimization method, data plane wireless broadcast. Data plane wireless broadcast upon you enable this function. It will forward all the broadcast message to air interface, and it will occupy much wireless resource. So we need to disable it. And the command is shown in the slide. Notice, in some specific scenario, like electrical bag scenario, some servers require to transmit the broadcast to wireless air interface. At this time, we need to enable this function. Another optimization method, response RSSI and association RSSI. Firstly, let me explain what response RSSI and association RSSI are. Response RSSI, it means upon the RSSI value is larger than the value, AP will permit user to access. Otherwise, AP will refuse user to access. Association RSSI, it means upon the RSSI value is smaller than its value, AP will kick users out. We can use show.aa to check the RSSI value. We do not suggest to configure this value to be very large, because if signal strength become low suddenly, when user walks through one metal shell, AP will kick a user out. It will affect the user experience. Our suggested value is 20. Another optimization method, band select. About this method, we do not suggest to enable 5G priority function. This function has certain side effects. It will cause single frequency terminal which only support 2.4G will associate with slow speed. Even some network card cannot connect to the Wi-Fi because of the compatibility problem. even if the user is successfully connected to the 5G channel through 5G priority. Then because of the strong signal power of 2.4G, which will cause terminals to switch between two IF cards, which can affect the user experience. Notice, we suggest to adjust the beacon power by modifying coverage area control value to ensure the signal strength of 5G user received is a little bit stronger than 2.4G, and the user will connect to 5G smoothly. Okay, that is all the training today. Thank you for your listening.